It's no secret that I love full-size trucks. Having driven a few, I really enjoy the experience. So when I got the opportunity to drive one that I've never driven one before, I couldn't say no. Welcome everybody then to the 2025 Ram 1500 Rebel. For 2025, Dodge has brought in some updates, visual updates, mechanical updates, and some more technical hardware changes that this truck needed. Let's see how this supremely competent truck is. When you come to the appearance of the 2025 Ram, well, it has been changed. So the earlier Rams used to have much more of a squarish look. This is much more curved and much more modern, if I can say that. So the new headlights are all LED. They have DRLs embedded into it, and I think it looks very good, especially with this blacked out paint and all the blacked out elements for the Rebel variant. I think it actually looks very menacing, and let's just say it is, I think, very intimidating on the road, especially the presence. You have bulged bonnets, you have functional scoops, and you do have the 1500 SST badge on the bonnet. I think it's very imposing, and I have to say the previous Ram was also very good looking, but I think this is one of the best looking trucks on sale in the market today. There, I said it. You do have still the traditional Ram lettering on the front grille. I think that looks very good. Since this is the Rebel, you do have metal bumpers with tow hooks because that helps with approach angle as well, and this is a bit of an off-road ready truck, so that bumper really works. Overall, I think it has been updated in the right areas, and this truck just looks even better than it did before. I'm very impressed with the whole appeal of this truck. When you come to the side profile of the Ram, well, it's a conventional truck, so there are not too much opportunities to incorporate too much radical elements. Having said that, the side profile does look very decent, just like a regular truck. You do have this super chunky 275 section tires, 18-inch wheels, blacked out because of the Rebel variant. This is an off-road variant, so you do have this super chunky all-terrain, which I think adds a lot to the whole stance of the truck. You do not have side steps because, as we know, for off-roading, side steps are usually the first thing that gets stuck and usually reduce the ground clearance of any truck. You do have the towing package on this truck, so that explains the huge side mirrors that this truck has. So the regular Ram, if you do offer it, does not have this. It's an optional package which definitely helps with towing, and in fact it's my first time driving any vehicle with these kind of mirrors, so it definitely took some getting used to, but I can safely say that the viewing angles and the view that you get from the mirrors is definitely very cool, and it makes driving this truck very easy. Since the mirrors are so big, it passes on to the certain regulations, but the truck is wider than it needs to be, so it does have the orange marker lights on the mirror as well, which I think looks very cool at night. The mirrors are extendable as well if you do actually have a trailer behind you, which is again a very nifty feature. It's all electronically controlled. You do have lots of cladding around the fenders because that's to protect the fenders if you do end up taking the truck to any rough trails. And yes, this truck also does have air suspension, so currently it's on the one step lower than the normal setup. You can bring it a bit more down for ease of entry and exit, and you can raise it up in off-road mode to make it even more imposing. You do have a regular bed as well on the back with some Rebel stickering badging, which I think looks very good. However, I would say that it's very hidden with this black paint. If you do buy other paint options, that Rebel sticker would look much better. Overall, can't say too much, not too much wrong, not too much good. It's a very conventional truck, but I think it still looks very good. When you come to the rear of the Ram Rebel, the updated 2025 one, well, the tail lights are changed, and perhaps that's about it. The tailgates still look mostly the same, and you do have a host of badges. So you have the Ram badge, the Rebel badge, and the 4x4. To remind you, yes, this is a full-time 4x4 vehicle. You do have steps as well to get onto the bed, which you can open, and it's damped and electronically controlled, so it takes its time to follow, but it doesn't come crashing down, which I appreciate a lot. You get access to the huge bed. You do have sliding hooks as well, which are a paid option, so you can hook maybe some machinery or some bags. So that's a very nifty feature, but again, it's a paid option. This bed liner is also a paid option, which I feel should be standard on all trucks, but I get it, companies want to make money. The bed itself is a proper size one, so it can take in a lot of luggage, which I think is pretty cool. But you know the coolest part, as I said, this tailgate is electronically controlled, so when I have to close it in other trucks, I usually have to use a lot of power to lift it up. but not on the Ram. I can just press a button and it electronically closes back, which I think is a very helpful feature on trucks like these. You do have twin pipes just like the older Hemi version, but it doesn't sound as loud as the V8, but I think it still sounds half decent, which is commendable job by Ram of tuning the whole exhaust setup of this truck. Overall, the rear is very subtle like every truck, but very functional as well. I'm now on the inside of the all-new Ram 1500, and this has the new interior which I like a lot. Everything you touch and feel feels very solid, feels very durable, which I think is a great feeling to have in any truck. So what dominates the interior is the center screen. So it's a vertical screen and it has physical buttons for the HVAC controls, the audio volume, the tune, which is very nice. The touchscreen response is very good. The resolution is top notch, so you can use this to adjust the heated seats or just look at all the 360 cameras, the front camera, rear camera, some more settings you can play around, and obviously you do have wireless CarPlay and Android Auto as well, and it uses the whole screen for CarPlay, which I really like. So there are many brands who have huge screens, but somehow their CarPlay integration isn't the biggest. So I really like it that Ram has included the whole screen for CarPlay. You do have some settings which are only touch on the bottom part of the screen, so that is to turn off your front sensor, rear sensors, the control for the air suspension, so it's a bit of a toggle. It can be a bit finicky to use. It's not the most responsive, that bottom part, but you don't use it every day, so I guess it's not a deal breaker. Since this has the towing pack, you do have physical adjustments for the trailer, brake control and everything. I've never used it, so I don't have too much idea. The gear selector is in a very peculiar place. So either trucks have column stock, so nowadays they are moving to conventional gear levers, but this has the rotary knob. So whenever you're driving, be very careful. You might confuse it for the volume knob. Thank God the steering does have volume controls on the back, but this can get a bit confusing. But otherwise it's very nice to use. It's very responsive, so there is no delay between you actually changing the knob and it actually changing gear. The controls for the four-wheel drive system is also integrated onto this, so you do have four-wheel drive auto, two-wheel drive, 4 high and 4 low. You can also use the axle locks and the hill descent control, so it's all there. You don't have any drivetrain changes anywhere else on the vehicle. On this side you do have the auto lights, and you do have only one stock for the indicators and the wiper controls. You have a host of USB ports, so you have, I think, 3 sets of type A and type C ports, an aux port and an HDMI port, 2 wireless chargers as well, which is I think very cool. Huge storage in here, you can put lots of stuff. This is adjustable as well for 2 cup holders and some more storage, and then you can open it for 1 level of storage, and then you can open it some more for even a deeper storage. So it's extremely practical, but I think all trucks in this segment are. The door again has 2 cup holders to the side, some more storage, and then some small storage for your knick-knack, keys and stuff. So I think it's very practical. You do have a host of leather around the door, all over the dash with white stitching, which I think feels very good. Some soft touch plastics as well, which I appreciate. You do also have a fancy screen, so you might think that this is a black panel, but it's actually a secondary screen for the passenger, and it's only visible to the passenger. I, as a driver, cannot see anything, so for me it's a flat black panel, but for the passenger, if they turn it on, it's actually a screen which they can toggle some settings, just go through some data which they can if they want to as a passenger. Since this is the mid variant, you do not have any sunroof. The top of the line Ram does have a huge panoramic glass, but this does not have anything, and being a black interior, it can get a bit dark at times, especially on a cloudy day today, but I'm not complaining considering that this is the mid variant. The seats are very nice. You do have electronically controlled seats, lumbar adjustment as well, heated, cooled, which is an option, but this does have everything. I think the seats themselves are very nice as well. Headrests are cool as well. Overall, the driving position is also very imposing, so you do sit a bit higher than you would in other vehicles, but honestly it just feels very nice. You do have a camera in the center mirror as well, just in case you want a clearer view, and I think the camera resolution is also very good. The mirrors, as I said, this is the towing pack, so it's very big, takes some getting used to, but I think once you do have a very nice broad view. There's lots of space to see your blind spots. On this does have blind spot monitor as well, but I think overall the tech this car has is very cool, and the interior is a very nice place to be. Now in the second row of the Ram 1500, and being a full-size truck, you know, space is really never an issue in any of these trucks, and it isn't one on the Ram as well. Legroom is too much, if I can say. My legs are nowhere going to touch my seat, so I'm no way in cramped in any way. I am 5'8", but taller passengers are much more welcome. Under thigh support is excellent. I think this is one of the best rear seats on any truck. Normally I do find under thigh support a bit lacking on other trucks, but it's really good on this. Backrest incline is very good, headrests are also very nice, and it's all leather inside, feels very plush. The windows are very big, but as I said, the lack of a sunroof sometimes can feel a bit too dark. You do have grab handles in the front and in the rear to help you climb in, because this does not have side steps, so it's a big help to have these grab handles. You have big cutouts for the Harman Kardon system, like in the front door as well. Overall, again, it does have the necessary stuff. It has heated seats for the rear as well, a proper plug point, again a pair of Type C and Type A ports, 2 cup holders, and you can obviously open this for some more cup holders. This glass also is electronically controlled from a switchboard on the front. But yeah, overall it's got all the basic tech, it's got oodles of space, and there's nothing really you can fault in the rear of the Ram 1500. I'm now behind the wheel of the 2025 Ram 1500 Rebel. So let's get the numbers out of the way. Gone is the big Hemi V8. In fact, and it's unfortunate I never got a chance to try it. This has the brand new 3-liter twin turbo Hurricane inline 6, which I've driven a lot in the Wagoneer series. The Wagoneer has the high output version, the 510 horsepower. This has 420 horsepower. It's still a body on frame full size truck, so it is very heavy. It does have a torque converter gearbox, so if I do slot it into drive and set off, and you instantly notice that there is nominal turbo lag, if I would say perhaps no turbo lag, and it starts by default in two-wheel drive mode. It's been cold, it's been snowy, so I have had instances where the traction control light can go quite crazy and you do have to control the truck a little bit. That can be solved by just putting it to four-wheel drive auto, and I would let the car do all the thinking and deciding where it needs to send the power. And I mean, these all-terrains are also pretty good for on-road uses. I've used it in city, I've used it on highways. I think the overall grips are not too bad for this all-terrain. I've not gotten a chance to test it in proper off-roading trail situations, which I wish I did, but somehow it is not possible because I usually like to take an off-road truck and explore its capacities. The steering feel is very nice. It's not overly heavy. It's the right size, the right servo fluidity, so you can maneuver this truck very easy, because I feel like this is a pretty big truck, but you're sitting so high up, you have a very clear view of the bonnet, so it's very easy to park this vehicle. What makes maneuvering this vehicle tough in tight spaces are these towing mirrors. As I spoke before, I think they stick out a bit too much. If you had the regular mirrors, I think that would be much better. The ride is really good. It's on air suspension, so you can lower it, raise it according to whatever you need it. So you can lower it completely to on entry and exit mode. You can raise it completely for off-road mode. But yeah, the ride quality with this air suspension is top notch. Like honestly, more full-size trucks need to have air suspension. It just works so well. The road is extremely bumpy. I'm not feeling anything, and nothing literally filters onto the cabin at all. The fuel economy is a bit of a downer, this inline 6, even though it's not a V8, it's been giving me, and the MID is saying 21.5 liters per 100, and okay, the car has been on for shoot purposes, it's been idling, but 21.5 liters, that's one of the worst I've seen in a long time. On the highways you can get about 13 to 13.5 liters, which I still feel is on the higher side, but on the city driving it's definitely quite poor. This truck does have the optional range extended tank, so it does have 120 liters. I'm sure when you do empty it, it's going to be very costly to fill it up. But yeah, otherwise driving dynamics wise, it feels really good. Body roll is very minimal for such a tall vehicle. You can turn into corners with quite a lot of confidence and you won't be disappointed. Honestly, I think this is one of the better driving trucks in its segment, and I've heard from a lot of people that it's good, but now that I can have experienced it, I can vouch for it. I think this is one of the better driving trucks, which is very commendable by Ram to, get the truck to behave in such a way. Overall, I would say, yeah, or can I say, driving this vehicle, barring the fuel economy, I think the power is sufficient. The exhaust could have been louder, considering this is the Rebel, and the previous Rebel with the Hemi had a optional exhaust which sounded really good. So the exhaust isn't louder, but I get it. It's not a deal breaker. Except the fuel economy, the driving dynamics, I think, is absolutely spot on. In conclusion then, the 2025 Ram 1500 Rebel. Honestly, I'd never driven a Ram before, but I've heard rave reviews from all my friends, so I couldn't wait to get my hands on it. And now that I have, I can totally get the hype. I would have to say, this is one of the best looking trucks on the market, and I think this is one of the best driving trucks on the market as well. The whole ride, the composure, the handling, everything, I think it's top notch, and I think praise doesn't get bigger than that. What's not so good is the price. This Rebel base price is $77,000, which is not too bad, but this very truck has almost $22,000 worth of option. Now, I didn't even know that was possible on a truck. So stuff like the paint, the towing package, some technology bits on the inside like the adaptive cruise and all the USB sockets and stuff like that, all that is an option. The bed liner, some hooks on the bed, like just minute things like that have combined added to almost $22,000. So this truck, as it says, is $99,000, and I think that's a lot of money for a mid-size variant, because they do have much more luxurious road focused versions of the Ram, which I think look very good with all the chrome. So I like this blacked out look as well, but I do like the top of the line variant that the Ram offers in the market today. So 100 grand, it's a bit here and there, and I mean, if I were the market to buy a truck, I'd definitely not use all the options this truck has. They've lost the Ram, now it has the Hurricane, but I would say it's no bad thing. Just like its Wagoneer counterparts, the motor is very powerful. You do not miss the V8. The fuel economy is also quite bad. It almost feels like it still thinks it's a V8, so it still kind of delivers that kind of fuel economy. Having said that, I don't mind it, because the whole stance and the whole driving dynamics for me alone makes this truck fully worth it on its base price, not its option price, but the base price makes it fully worth it. If I were in the market for a full size truck, this might just be it.